Hello everybody, welcome to Tuesday. I am Scotty the Trainer and this is Scotty the Trainer Tuesdays. Thanks for joining me here today. I want to tell you a story as I talk to you about how there are just some rules that'll never change. There's just some rules that'll never change. So I heard a story about a guy who was in charge of the cargo department for O'Hare Airport in Chicago. And so a man was having his dog shipped back. So when the plane landed in O'Hare Airport, the people in charge of the cargo went out and checked it, and the one guy went out and looked, and the dog that was in the crate was dead. So he had to go out and he had to tell the man, he said, "Hey, listen, your dog, here's what happened." Now, he didn't tell him that the dog died, but he told a story to him. He said, listen, so the dog, he got shipped to Arizona, but here's the deal. We know where he is. We're going to have him sent back, and so he'll be back here tomorrow. So the man very nonchalantly said, okay, please call me when the dog is back here in Chicago. And so the man in charge of the luggage and everything, he went to his people and he said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to every shelter. I don't care if we got to go to every one of them, and we're going to find a dog that's similar to the dog that we found in this crate that was dead. So they did. So the next day, he reaches out to the owner and he says, hey, we found your dog. And the man says, great, I'll be by to pick him up. So as the man comes into the airport, they bring out the dog, and the dog is running around on a leash, and he's jumping up and down and all excited. And the man looks at the baggage handler, and he says, that's not my dog. And the baggage handler says, oh, no, it's your dog. I mean, you know, he's probably acting a little strange because he's jet lagged. And possibly, you know, you don't recognize him because you haven't seen him in a little while. But no, that's definitely your dog. The man stood flat-footed and said, that's not my dog. And again, they tried to pass the dog off. No, it's your dog. It's your dog. And the man says, I know that's not my dog. And the baggage handler goes, well, how do you know that's not your dog? And the man responded with this. He said, because my dog's dead, and I was sending him here so that I could bury him. What am I saying? There's just some things that'll never change. No matter how much they went and found a dog similar to his, they thought in their mind they killed his dog. But the fact of the matter was his dog was already dead. And no matter what they did was not going to change the fact that he was shipping his dog back so that his dog could be buried. That brings me to the lesson today. There are just some rules in life that no matter how much you don't like them, or no matter whether you want them to be that way or not, they're set in stone. They'll always be that way. There are so many things that this generation that we're dealing with is fighting against that is never going to go away. It's never going to change the fact that there are certain laws, certain rules that absolutely will never go away. For instance, if you want something, you're going to have to work for it. If you're after something in your life, nobody is going to pick it up and hand it to you on a silver platter. It's just not going to happen. You know, there are things that we have to do in life. If you want it, you got to go get it. You know, let me tell you something. There was a time in my life when my family had we had a minivan. And the minivan, we drove the thing until there was nothing left. We drove the wheels off of it. We drove it till the engine was about to fall out. And you know, when it was time to get another vehicle, nobody came and gave me a vehicle. I heard all these great stories of people that when they were in the time of need, somebody walked up and handed them the keys to a brand new vehicle and said, hey, here's a vehicle. Go ahead and take it. Well, you know, in my instance, nobody did that. You know something else? The circle of people that I ran in, they didn't have stories like that either. Oh, it was fantastic. And if it happened to you, then you should be thanking everything that is good that it happened. But I had to get another vehicle. And you know what I had to do? I had to negotiate for it. I had to put money down on it. I had to work a deal with the bank. And all of that had to be paid by a job that I had to work. If you want something in your life, you have to work for it. Just recently, our 14-year-old just got back from a trip from Washington, D.C. And he had several opportunities during that trip to where he could have decided that it wasn't a trip that he was going to invest in and have a good time. First of all, some of the people he did not want to room with, the school made him room with that person. There were trips and museums and things that they went to maybe he wasn't that excited about. But as he was texting back and forth with his mom and with me, as he's texting back and forth, he's saying, well, what do I do? I don't like this. I don't like this. And the response was always the same. Have a positive attitude. Try to make the best of it. In other words, he could have sat there and moaned and groaned and had a horrible time in Washington, D.C., or he could have came back with great stories about getting on a boat and going out on a dinner cruise and dressing up in a suit and tie. All of these wonderful things. If you want something in life, one of the rules that absolutely is not going to change, you're going to have to work for it. The other thing is this. You got to learn to get along with people. You have to. I know this comes as a shock to a lot of people, but for a long time in my life, I was not a people person. I didn't really care about people, didn't really care about what people thought. Their attitudes absolutely mean nothing to me. And there's a little bit of that still in me today, which is the reason why I can train and speak in front of groups and have the style that I do and not really care whether people like it or he's offensive or why is he that way. Because of the fact of the matter, I'd rather be honest, open, and hit people right square between the eyes than to give you a bunch of cake and fluff and stuff and you not get anything out of it. Is it more important that you feel better for the moment, or is it more important you get something that might hurt for the moment but might help you in the long run be a better person? Whatever you want in life, there are certain rules that are not going to go away. One of them is you got to work for it. Also, you get out of your days and out of your weeks whatever you put into them. I heard a little story of a pastor, and as he was starting his church, he and his son were there, and the pastor decided, I'm not going to pass the offering plate. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bucket at the front door, and I'm going to leave that there and write offering on it. So then maybe people as they come in will just give, or when they leave, they'll just give. And that way, I won't have to push anybody to give. So he thought to kind of get things started, he'll take $20 and put it in the bucket. So when people see it, maybe when they come in, they'll start giving money. Well, his son watched him do that. They went through the service. When the service was over, he walked out there to the bucket, and guess what? The same $20 that he put in was in the bucket. He reached inside and grabbed it and pulled it out, and his little son looked at him and said, well, Dad, I guess if you'd put more into it, you would have gotten more out of it. Your days, my days, our weeks are going to give back to us whatever we put into it. If we get up with a terrible attitude and we start our day with a rotten attitude and all we have is woe, despair, and misery on me, guess what's going to happen? At the end of the day, when you go to bed, you're going to pull the cover up with the same woe, despair, and misery on you. You get what you put into it. See, I see people every day on the job that I train, and I can watch a group of 20 people, and I can watch 5 of them that are investing and listening, hanging on every word that I say. Those 5 become great agents. The other 15 are going to fall in between of somewhere of being just regular people, just decent agents, or others that just don't care. What was the difference? Was it the trainer? No, because I trained everybody the same. It's what they put into it. Whatever you put into it, that's what you're going to get out of it. So in life, just like that man coming to the airport to get his dog that was dead. No matter how much they wanted to present to him a live dog, he knew his dog was dead. His dog was always going to be dead, and no matter what they did was going to change it. That was just a rule and a law. That was just the way it was going to be. And in life, there are certain rules that are never going to change. 1, if you want something in life, work for it. 2, you're going to get out of life exactly what you put into it. Start investing and investing wisely. There's only one person in the world that can change your attitude. You know who that person is? It's not Scotty the trainer. It's not somebody else. It's you. It's not your mother. It's not your father. It's not your grandmother. It's you. When you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you're going to make changes in your life. Until then, nobody can change them. And that's another rule that will never change in life. I'm Scotty the Trainer. Thanks for joining me for Scotty the Trainer Tuesdays. And as always, my friends, that's just how I see it.